Elon Musk once said, "Most people underestimate the power of incentives." Now imagine this. What if the greatest empire in human history didn't fall because of enemies, but because its system stopped making sense? Rome didn't collapse in a single night. It failed the same way bad engineering fails slowly, predictably, and then all at once. This isn't just ancient history. This is a systems failure story, and Elon Musk would recognize it instantly. At its peak, Rome was not just an empire, it was a machine. Roads spanning continents, supply chains feeding millions, a legal framework still used today, an army that functioned like clockwork. Rome conquered the world not because it was cruel, but because its systems worked better than everyone else's. For centuries, Rome scaled successfully. But hear us the rule Elon Musk follows in every company he builds, a system that can scale honestly. Will eventually collapse? Rome forgot that rule. So where did the first crack appear? It started with money. Roman money was originally solid silver. A denarius meant something real, but running an empire is expensive. Armies wanted higher pay. Bureaucrats multiplied. Emperors needed popularity. Wars never stopped. Instead of fixing spending, Rome chose the shortcut. They reduced the silver in their coins. Same coin, same face of the emperor, but less value inside. At first, nobody noticed. This is classic short-term optimization, the exact opposite of long-term engineering thinking. Elon Musk often warns against this mindset. As he says, if you fake the signal, reality catches you later. Rome faked its signal. As the silver content dropped, prices rose. This is inflation, the silent killer. Bread cost more, rent increased. Soldiers demanded higher wages. How did Rome respond? By printing more debased coins. This wasn't just corruption. It was desperation disguised as policy. By the 3rd century, Roman coins contained almost no silver at all. Just copper with a silver wash. Money no longer represented value, it represented authority pretending. When money breaks, trust breaks, and when trust breaks, systems fracture. Elon Musk thinks in incentives first. This is where Rome truly failed. As the financial system crumbled, the incentives throughout the empire went haywire. Farmers were taxed so heavily they abandoned their land. It was more rational to flee than to produce. Merchants hid their goods or stopped trading altogether to avoid confiscation and worthless payments. Citizens avoided productive work to escape the crushing burden of taxation. Even the soldiers, the backbone of the empire, started supporting whoever paid them the fastest, not the most legitimate emperor. The system began to punish productivity and reward survival tactics. That is the moment any system begins to eat itself. Rome didn't need invaders to weaken it. It weakened itself from the inside. At the same time, Rome became top-heavy. Layers of officials, rules on top of rules. Permits, taxes, controls, innovation slowed to a crawl. Adaptation stopped. Compare that with Elon Musk's approach to management: flatten structures, remove unnecessary processes, and break bottlenecks fast. Rome did the exact opposite. Instead of fixing the underlying inefficiency, they added more layers of control. And control without productivity is just decay with paperwork. The empire was becoming a bureaucratic maze, strangling the very innovation and commerce that had made it great. This brings us to the army, the machine that built the empire, and ultimately, the machine that ate it. Rome relied on its military to survive, but the military became its single biggest expense. To pay the soldiers, emperors had to debase the currency even further. To maintain loyalty amidst the chaos, they raised taxes on the citizens. To enforce those ever-increasing taxes on a resentful population, they needed more soldiers. It became a perfect feedback loop, and not the good kind. Elon Musk calls this a negative spiral. Once a system starts feeding itself without creating any real value, collapse is no longer optional. It's scheduled? So what about the barbarians? We always hear about how barbarian invasions destroyed Rome, but the truth is, the barbarians didn't destroy Rome. They simply walked into a system that was already broken. The borders were understaffed because soldiers were unpaid or busy fighting in civil wars. Local governors ignored orders from Rome because the central government had lost its authority and financial power. The empire had no internal strength left. As Musk would say, if your core system works, external pressure doesn't matter nearly as much. Rome's core had failed long before the final walls came down. This story isn't just about ancient Rome, it's about any system that trades long-term truth for short-term comfort. Debasing currency, overloading bureaucracy, breaking incentives, ignoring productivity. These are not ancient mistakes. They are modern temptations that we see in governments and companies today. Rome proves one brutal law of reality: you cannot cheat systems forever. Engineering, economics, empires, they all obey the same fundamental rules. When you look at it through the Elon Musk lens, it all makes sense. Musk builds companies as if gravity applies to finance. No fake profits. No fake timelines, at least not forever. Reality always wins. Rome tried to fight reality with authority, with decrees and force. And in the end, reality won. That's the core difference between builders and politicians. Builders respect constraints. Politicians try to delay consequences. Rome delayed the consequences for far too long. So the final warning from history is this: Rome didn't fall because of barbarians. It fell because its system stopped making sense. They chose short-term survival over long-term stability. They broke the incentives that encourage people to create and produce. They diluted the value of their own money. They ignored reality, and reality always collects its debt. This isn't just history, this is engineering. And every empire, ancient or modern, should be paying close attention. Thanks for watching. If you found this interesting, please subscribe for more videos.